if you want to solve the Middle East problems, the first step is to cut off the snake's head in Tehran. My perspective is the opposite. Another reason why people, like, I think it's really funny when people say that I'm like pro-Western hegemony or whatever, because I literally had a 2-day rant about how I think Iran should be the regional hegemon in the Middle East. You know, they have like an authentic, much more legitimate, culturally backed claim to regional power there, so we should just leave it to them. Yeah, that just happened. Like, I was arguing with liberals in my chat, you know. I am the most contrarian fucking streamer, dude. Within 1 week, like, saying that Iran should control the Middle East, over to uncritical support for America glassing the Houthis from our naval fortification. I feel like I'm doing this from a consistent ethical perspective, but I must acknowledge that for some of you, it must be whiplash, you know? Like, you're getting thrown around a little bit. Who knows what perspective I'm taking today? I think it's consistent. I stand by it. You admit that you're the most contrarian streamer. Well, I don't think I'm contrarian by design. I just think that other people are fucking stupid. Obviously, everyone thinks that about themselves. I just think that, like, the right road sometimes is more complicated. But people don't want to go down that road because of their fucking in-groups, you know? It's all lunch table politics. Nobody else has these balls, okay? Like, the idea of trying to, like, you know, create a community or have a brand online or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're a leftist. Okay. Now let me weave this needle. I'm pro-Iranian hegemony. I'm pro-America glassing the Houthis. I'm pro lots of stuff to stop Israel to fucking from killing the Palestinians, you know. Like, you know, people are getting whiplash, but it's a consistent set of ethics. But, you know, a lot of people don't see that. They'll say that on one hand, I'm an anti-Semite because I don't support Zionists. And then on the other hand, I'm like a American hegemon, white supremacist, neo-Nazi genocider because I think it's okay for us to fire at the Houthis, even though the Nazis support the Houthis. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. It's who I am, Transcendental. My positions are clear. I am Iranian, dear friend, but I must tell you the Iranian government is the biggest supporter of terrorism in the Middle East, and the current Iranian government has come to power with the support of the U.S. because the Shah has been involved with the U.S. government over the price of oil. Huh? The current Iranian government has come to power because we supported the Shah, not because we... Like, the U.S. government doesn't support the Ayatollah. We supported the Shah. But yeah, I know the Iranian government is the biggest supporter of terrorism in the Middle East. I say, leave it to them, you know? It's like Afghanistan. How long are we going to stay there? The Taliban control Afghanistan. We can rage against that. Like, we spent 20 years sitting on our thumbs in Afghanistan, allying ourselves with child fuckers in the ANA. And what happens the nanosecond we leave? After all of that, the Taliban just immediately takes the country back. Clearly, like, our presence there was not... That was not the dub. We were not doing any favors to anyone there. We were not, we weren't doing it, you know? Likewise, Iran has an authentic cultural, you know, weight on the Middle East that we simply do not, you know? We don't, obviously. We're the U.S., so. No, I think that Iranian support is, look, how about this? Maybe it would be more difficult for Iran to maintain its tenuous control on the population within its borders and outside of its borders in the form of Islamic terrorism if their one talking point, America bad, wasn't being constantly reinforced by America being bad. You know? I wonder. Vaush, if Iran becomes the regional hegemon, Kurds, who have the most promising socialist project in the world, are fucked. Iran is attacking Rojava right now and was massacring Kurds by the hundreds in the streets in its borders last year. Well, not just Iran, right? Turkey as well. You know, it's hardly just Iran there. But yeah, like, I'm sorry. I think there are things we can do to support Rojava, but if our interminable presence in the Middle East is just, like, gonna perpetuate this eternal wedge that allows Iran to continue maintaining its proxy support in the region, like, I don't know. There has to be a better solution than that. At the very least, we have to, like, normalize diplomatic relations with Iran. How would you respond to people saying this is the exact reason Mirshimmer supports Russia because it's their region of influence and you shouldn't bother preventing their natural takeover? Because I'm not talking about allowing Iran to invade a bunch of countries. I'm saying that our constant meddling in the Middle East is causing these issues. We aren't meddling in Ukraine. Ukraine authentically, of its own legitimacy and desire, moved over towards the EU after ousting Yanukovych. and Russia invaded like spitefully afterwards. Like the situation is different. The comparable example would be if Ukraine and a bunch of other like former Soviet countries had like a fuck ton of like regional militias that were fighting proxy wars against us, and we like invaded some of their countries to like tenuously maintain control, but it seems like nothing we do makes any difference, and all the countries actually like Russia more. But that's not what's happening, not even close. The situation in the Middle East is pretty exceptional. But the desire of Gulf states to ally with the U.S. is illegitimate. The Gulf states don't give a fuck. The Gulf states just want oil. We buy oil. You know, that's the Gulf state. I don't give a fuck about the Gulf states, frankly. If they burned, it would probably be for the betterment of the world, honestly. Fucking Saudi Arabia. I don't give a shit. You know, whatever. Saudi Arabia can defend itself against Iran. I don't give a fuck. Like, they're just money. They're just businessmen, you know? It's like, I don't give a shit. Not even real places. They're fake. So your solution is fucking Rojava over? This is what people said about Afghanistan. They're going to get genocide in Rojava if Iran gets their way, and they are already being culturally genocide in Iran. It's illegal to speak and teach Kurdish or even wear Kurdish clothes there. So K. Harmad Robin Hood, come up with a better solution then. If you had, like, are you seriously suggesting we should maintain boots on the ground American military presence in a region of the world where literally every single group there fucking despises us, purely to protect a small, burgeoning, socialist governmental project taking place in eastern Syria, a territory that is not being legally claimed and is still in like a constant embroiled state of civil war? That's something you want to commit like indefinite military support to? Yes. Have you considered that our indefinite presence in the region might contribute to more negative long-term trends? Maybe. Honestly, yes, Vaush. This is what caused the problems in the first place. The Middle East gets intervened in. The West overcommits because the only way to defend our intervention that is retaliated against with like other neighboring like regional hegemonic powers is to like commit more forces. So people get madder. So we commit more forces. So people get madder. We have to do a couple of invasions. We got like this is not a sustainable long-term project. I really don't think the solution to peace in the Middle East is like we need to set up military fortifications in fucking eastern Syria, you know? Breaking the cycle is key. Yeah, now the real question is there a way to break the cycle in a way that doesn't involve that? Is there something that could be done to protect Rojava in a way that doesn't like create or exacerbate those problems? And it might be possible, but right now you guys in chat are buying into the worst, most illegitimate argument. You guys are essentially saying like, you know, no, the only thing we can do to protect Rojavans is with a nonstop permanent military occupation for some random fucking group of socialists in the Middle East, in spite of every other group there hating us for it, you know, thus worsening relations with the rest of the Middle East. What if it's possible that some kind of like detente and diplomatic engagement could allow us to like engage with Iran on better terms and keep them from doing that kind of stuff, you know? I don't know, man. We haven't really given peace a chance, unironically. Yeah, but Arska Karva, like, the Sunni-Shia split hasn't kept Iran from being the major backer of terrorism in the region. You know, you have, like, the Arab nationalist angle. I really think that right now we've just given so much ammunition to countries whose main political prescription is America bad by actually being bad, you know? Before the Iranian Revolution, the Middle East was at greater peace than it was now because the Shah was involved with the U.S. government. Well, but then the U.S. government decided to support the Ayatollah. Mohammed Ali Amiri, I don't know what you're going on about, but the United States and the Ayatollah have not historically been on good trends. We supported the Shah, then there was a revolution because the Shah was a corrupt and ineffectual leader. And of the many like revolutionary groups in Iran, the ones that took power were the Islamic extremists. You know, like the Middle East was at greater peace because we had our boot on its neck in a lot of those places. Like peace in this case, meaning that we had to, like we were, you know, essentially sort of pressing it to the ground. They're comparing Ahmadinejad to Khamenei, the former being more hostile to the U.S. Oh yeah, well we should be more diplomatic with Iran. What's the other solution, right? Like just be enemies with them forever? Like no, yeah, of course we want diplomacy with Iran for sure, for sure. Rojava's been begging the U.S. to do two simple things for years, which is get Turkey to stop bombing them. Yeah, that would be nice. And help them deal with ISIS POWs and transfer ISIS foreign fighters to their home countries. That's all they're asking for. Well, sure, I agree with getting Turkey off their back. Yeah, 100%. And the business with ISIS. Sure. People need to understand that real life doesn't have a global domination victory. Diplomacy really is the only way forward. I just, like, do people not, like, you guys all saw what happened with Iraq and Afghanistan, right? 20 years in Afghanistan. What happened? Nothing. Nothing changed. The nanosecond we left. the Taliban took back over. Iraq, we made like a puppet government. We made them our ally, and then the moment we leave and like reduce our influence, Iraq starts siding more with Iran because of like shared Shia influence or whatever, you know. And because they're a regional hegemon. Like, wow, we spent like 50 trillion, bajillion, quadrillion fucking dollars, and it did nothing. All we got from it was like PTSD, a bunch of war crimes, and a bunch of money spent. Like, maybe this isn't a good solution, a little bit, maybe, possibly, thinking, perhaps. The most significant positive thing that came about in the Middle East in the past decade was the Iranian nuclear accords, and Trump killed it, you know? We had, like, a potential. There was potential there, you know? Yeah, not for the whole Middle East, Arskarva. I'm just saying that, like, a lot of what we see as Iranian-backed insurgency really is just evidence that, like, there should be more legitimate control there. Like, that would be the direction things would take anyway, in our absence. We're clearly, like, swimming against the tide here. As an Iranian, it definitely doesn't feel safe giving more regional power and legitimacy to Iran. I mean, but like we are doing that by being there. That's my point. Like our presence there is causing Iran, like Iran's arguments remain legitimate the more and more we intervene, you know? All right, I think the point has been made.